Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. Couple things before we start. I have a yoga mat if you are without one. A great place to do this would be on a carpeted area in your home or a sturdy rug. I don't want you on a surface that's slick or too hard. And be careful of those exercise mats that can slip out from underneath you as if they were like a surfboard. I have 2 yoga blocks, and a great substitute for those would be 2 thick books. Also, cushions from your couch, folded blankets, beach towels, bath towels, pillows from your bed. Things that can prop us up and pad things like knees are wonderful to be creative with. We'll start in a child's pose, and child's pose will look different on all of us. You might choose to use a block underneath your forehead and walk yourself forward to a place where maybe even with your toes curled under, it doesn't feel like it's too much bend to your knees. So using your arms to support you and your forehead on a block or a book is a great way. Maybe it's okay in your body to sit a little closer to your heels, anything in between, and there is zero shame. If we are able to meet ourselves where we are, on our mat and hopefully off, we are practicing advanced yoga. Let's find that child's pose that looks like our child's pose and use it as a place to turn the arrows of attention inward. Curled up here in our little child's pose, bring awareness to your breath. The inhale and the exhale. Shift to hands and knees, and if you've got a block under your forehead, shift that out of the way. Let's refine what's happening in our arms. Press into your arms, push the ground away so we do not collapse. We'll need the support of some arm strength as we also find stability and mobility in our hips. I'm turning sideways so it's easier to see what we're up to here. From hands and knees, line up your right hand, your right knee, and your left foot. Then bring your left hand onto your hip, and we will need to oomph into that right arm and hug our right hip underneath us. Those two are anchors. There is hip stability and mobility happening in a very big way already, so you might stay here. It's possible that you take your left arm up to the sky, and as you do that, remind your right arm to oomph. Maybe you lift your left leg. That requires that we keep the anchor of our right hip hugging underneath us. All of the variations I just showed you do, but if you're lifting that left leg, it's going to be even trickier to balance. 3 moments here. Bring your left hand on your hip and step your left leg down, and then come to all fours. I will turn myself around. You might do the same, but I'm doing it so I don't turn my back on you. We come to all fours. So we'll do it slowly. We'll build it slowly and consciously as we did on the first side. Left hand, left knee, right foot, all on that middle line of your mat, maybe left toes curled under, and right hand on your hip. It's the left hip that's got to tuck underneath us, and we're oomping in that left arm. Maybe right arm to the sky, possibly right leg lifts. I leave it to you. And then we find some balance, and we find some hip mobility and stability all at the same time. 3 moments here. Stamp that right foot down. Bring your right hand down, and lo and behold, we are back onto hands and knees. And I would like us to oomph into our arms once again. Curl our toes under and step our feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Imagine a hook in your tailbone. Lift your hips up, oomph into both arms until this becomes down dog. Now in down dog, we're making that length of our tailbone add up to some space in our back body, side body, front body. Walk your feet forward to your hands, and then walk your feet as wide as your mat with your heels in and your toes out, and walk your hands up onto your thighs, and we bend our knees. Let's point our feet forward while we're here, press into our hands, and feel that there is a little bit of hip mobility. Stay like this if it's best. Maybe turn your heels in, heels in and toes out, and you might bend a little bit deeper while we're here, pressing into your thighs. Turn those toes forward once again, and slowly straighten your legs, then heel toe, and we are hip distance and parallel, which feels different than when our heels were in and our toes were out. Little subtle differences, but that have an impact on our experience. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Slide your hands potentially down to your shins. If that's rounding, I would stay up with thighs. Maybe down to your ankles. We're folding, but we're lengthening. And then bend your knees enough that your hands go flat, and we make our way back to that down dog that we were sporting. This time, perhaps, with your feet hip distance instead of quite so wide. Come forward, shoulders over wrists, get the oomph going we spoke of, and plant your knees down a bit further back than hands and knees, so it's more like a kickstand. We'll check again to make sure we haven't collapsed into our shoulder girdle. Shift a little bit forward, and then lower all the way down onto our belly. Once we're here, take your arms alongside the long edges of your mat. So we're building a little bit of a sphinx, but we're going to play with it a bit. I'd like you to traction your elbows towards you, draw your chest through the gateway of your arms, and then keep with that and gently bend your right knee, like you were kind of thinking of kicking yourself in the butt. A little bit of a hip stretch actually in the front of that leg. And then lower that leg down and bend your left knee like you're going to kick yourself in the butt. Lower that down. Take your left forearm parallel to the front edge of your mat. So it's a bit easier to support you. Remember that we don't want to collapse. Bend your right knee and reach back. It does not matter to me if you actually find it, but you will reach back and just see if it's possible maybe to find that. And if you do, you gently encourage a little bit more stretch on the front of our right leg. Don't worry about getting all the way back there. And then lower that down, and let's switch sides. Right forearm parallel to the front edge of our mat. You might want to walk your feet closer, or legs closer to each other, and then it's like an experiment. We'll see if we can't reach back, bending that left knee without collapsing into our right shoulder, and see if we find the foot. The prize is in the reach. It's fine if you don't actually get it. Let go. Bring your forearms parallel. Curl your toes under. Place your hands next to your ribs. Come through all fours. And then make it child's pose, sitting back, and maybe that's still toes curled under and not so much bend, but it sure is a nice little counter pose for a bit of a back bend that we just did. Shift forward, hands and knees, curl your toes under, find the hook in your tailbone, lift your hips up and back, down dog. Walk your feet to your hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale, glide your hands down, exhale. And then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and we'll pause with our arms along our sides. Stay where you are or turn if you want to. It doesn't really matter. Let's notice our balance on both legs. Stand on your left leg. Bring your hands on your hips. It could be great to use a wall. Take that right leg out in front of you. With your right hand on your hip, and maybe even your left hand on that left standing hip, turn your right leg out. So it's like we're dancing a jig and you feel something changed. It's actually a lot like what was supporting you when we were on our knee. Plant that ball of your right foot right inside of your left arch. Stay there, or stamp that onto your shin. Maybe even right foot into left inner thigh. We want to keep this solid, and this is exploring some flexibility. Maybe you begin to grow the branches of your tree or just the right branch while your left hand helps you with a wall or the arm of your sofa. Bring your hands onto your hips, turn that right knee forward and step down. Then step wide on your mat and let's aim our ankles underneath our wrists. So thumbs to the sky with our arms wide. Turn your right leg out. Let it point towards that back short edge of your mat and sneak your left heel at a 45-degree angle. And then bend your right knee and make sure that we've got a vertical line from our knee to our ankle. And lo and behold, even though it might not quite look like it, this is tree pose, like we just did, but weight bearing. And we want to encourage our right hip underneath us. If you think about it, if your right shin was on the ground, it would almost look like the hands and knees pose we did, right? Like your right hand, right knee, left foot on the middle line. Something to think about. 3 moments to think about it. Straighten that right leg. Turn all of your toes to face the long edge. Heel, toe, heel, toe. We'll become hip distance. You can operate anywhere you'd like because you might even want to be at a wall. We're standing with our feet hip distance, and this time it's the right leg we stand on. Left hand on your hip, maybe even both hands if that works. Take that left leg out in front of you and then rotate at your hip, and you actually feel evidence of that rotation. And then we plant the ball of our left foot inside our right arch. Possibly left foot on your shin, maybe even left foot in your right inner thigh. Hug that right hip in, grow a branch or both branches, and we pause. Then turn that left knee forward and step down, then step wide. Arms wide, thumbs to the sky. We start with that measurement of ankles underneath wrists, and then turn your left leg out so your left foot's facing that short edge. Sneak your right heel back, bend that front knee. Terrific vertical line, so make sure that that's what we get. And I remind you, left hip hugging underneath us. It's dancing a jig. It's becoming the pose we did on our shin. So many things in common, even as they change shape. 3 moments, I'll be quiet. We'll straighten our left leg, turn all toes to face the long edge, heel, toe, heel, toe. And again, you may want to make your way to the wall. Perfect. Great idea. We will shift our weight once again onto our left foot, and then think about what we did on our belly. Bend your right knee, perhaps left hand on something. See if you can find your foot. You could even lasso this foot with a kitchen towel. And then you might kick that leg behind you. This is actually a hip stretch. I set it on the ground. You might feel it even more above the ground. It's hip extension. So whenever our thigh bone goes back behind us, closer towards our spine, that's a little hip extension, which is the opposite of sitting. And we need to do the opposite of sitting sometimes. Gently release that down, and we'll head to the second side of that. Stand on your right leg. Bend your left knee. See if you can find the foot or the lasso comes out. Right hand can go on something like a wall, and we'll just play with extending at the hip, stretching, breathing, pausing. Gently release. This time as we stand on our left leg, and the arm of your sofa might be great, you can use the wall. Perhaps you trot in your 2 tall blocks. Something relatively tall, I think, is going to be helpful here as we shift our weight onto our left foot and bend that left knee. Take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. So hands on a wall could be helpful. We'll bend our left knee. We'll make sure we're flexing that right foot, and then perhaps hands go on. It could be blocks, but I'm thinking a little higher up might be a good idea. This is a little like a deeper stretch than our tree pose. when it comes to external rotation. Doesn't require quite as much balance. 3 moments here. You can keep your hands on your support, as I'm going to do, so on my blocks. Just step that right foot down, and then we'll bring our hands to our hips and come on up to standing. With a little bend in our knees, we now cross left ankle on top of right thigh, and we'll make our way hands onto whatever works. We would prefer not to be super rounded, so that's another reason that coming up a little bit higher, I think, is going to be a good idea. Find where the porridge is just right, enough stretch, but not too much, and then we'll stay for 3 moments. I'm keeping my hands on my support, and then we'll step down and bring our hands on our hips, firm our bellies, and come to standing. I'm going to turn myself so it's a little bit similar to our humble beginnings, and I'm hoping a little bit easier to follow. Take your 2 blocks. Of course, you can use the arm of your sofa. A little trickier to use your wall, but you might do that. And we'll bring our blocks tall and shoulder distance out in front of us, and we'll extend our spine. Then, standing on your right leg, extend your left leg back behind you. It's a letter T, and we have support, and the support can be pretty high up. All good. Much like we did at the very, very beginning together, I've got my right palm flat. I'm taking my left hand onto my hip, and then I'm hugging my right hip underneath me, and lo and behold, it's the same shape we started with, but we're no longer on our shin. You might stay just like this. It's perfect. Perhaps you take your left arm up to the sky. You might even shift your gaze out to the side, but first things first. If you're feeling super sassy today, and that's only if, you might bend your left knee and reach towards that foot, but I want you to keep hugging that right hip underneath you. The prize is in the reach. Maybe you find your foot. I wouldn't worry about it. You don't even have to try it if it's not really got your name on it. We'll let go of that top foot. Carefully bring both hands onto our blocks and let our hips face down. Step your left foot down, hands on your hips, firm your belly, and up we stand. Let's try that on our second side. So the first setup is that we have our blocks out in front of us. We're extending our spine. We will stand on our left leg and extend our right leg back behind us. So that is phase 1. A little bend in that supporting leg is always welcomed. Keeping your left hand where it is, take your right hand on your hip, hug that left hip underneath you, begin to open up towards your right. Key is hug that left hip beneath you. You might lift your right arm. Nothing wrong with keeping your right hand on your hip. This is just for those who feel the sass. Hopefully I'm not going to fall over showing you, but the wobble is the win, as I say. Bend your right knee potentially and reach with your right hand, like we've kind of done in a couple things, right? And maybe you find it and maybe you don't, but it's all good fun. If you caught it, let it go. All of us will carefully bring our right hand onto our block, square our hips, step our right foot down. We've got the support of our blocks, which is really nice because we'll firm our bellies and come to standing. You can take your blocks off to the side now so that they don't get in the way of a little bit of a sun salutation. Stand into your mountain and then inhale V-shape, arms to the sky, and exhale hinge, hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, glide your hands up, bend your knees, palms go flat, and we step back to down dog. From down dog, shift shoulders over wrists, and then plant your knees down like a kickstand. Lower all the way down onto your belly and uncurl your toes. Bring yourself into a cobra pose. Lower down, Curl your toes under and come to all fours. Stay on all fours and extend your right leg back behind you. Your left arm out in front of you. You may want to find some padding underneath your left knee. Let's find the oomph we spoke of earlier in our right arm. Bend your right knee, reach with your left hand. Nobody cares if we grab it, we just give it a shot. Maybe you can find your right foot with your left hand. Let go and extend left arm forward, right leg back. Hands and knees, if you need to shake your wrists out, you're always welcome to shake your wrists out. Now we will extend our left leg behind us and our right arm forward. And we want to oomph into our left arm as we do. Reach back, bending your left knee with your right hand, see what you find. Maybe you find that foot. Just a couple of moments here. Extend right arm forward and left leg back. Right hand down, left knee down, and we come to seated, extending our legs out in front of us. And once we extend our legs out in front of us, we turn it into a seated tree. Bend your right knee and place your right foot wherever it wants to go, and it might appreciate a little support of a book underneath your right thigh. V-shape your arms to the sky and turn your right ribs so that when we lengthen out over our left leg, there's a little bit of a twist of right ribs towards left inner thigh. Upright your torso and help this along. Extend your right leg, and then we'll bend our left knee and put our left foot wherever it goes in the inseam of our right leg. V-shape your arms, think left ribs moving towards that right extended leg, and then we fold, but just like our standing poses, it's not a round collapse fold, it's a hip hinge, lengthened spine kind of a fold. And we'll reap the benefits of our hip stretches here. Slowly, gently come on up and help this along. So left knee to the sky, and then we slither that leg out. Lie down on your back with your knees bent and pointing to the sky, and snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you with your palms flat alongside you. Lift your hips up. Here's that hip extension that we were talking about. You could keep your arms like this or interlace and snuggle your shoulders even closer to each other. And just note the hip extension. A couple moments here. We release it down. Place a hand on your heart and a hand on your low belly. Feel free to stay just like this, or if you've got one more of those back bends in you, once again, palms flat, lift up. Option to interlace and snuggle a little further in, but maybe you don't need to. And then we'll ease our way back down. Hand on our heart, hand on our low belly. Then cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh like we did in a standing pose. This might be enough. It could be that you slide your right hand through the space and you either hold on around your shin or around your hamstring. And for some of us, it's much more comfortable to have a pillow or a block underneath our head. A couple moments to stretch like this. Gently release, both feet on your mat, left ankle over right thigh, and you might thread the needle, but maybe that's not required. And then we settle in, side 2 of our reclining pigeon. We'll gently release this side. Scoot our hips to the right and let our knees spill to the left for a spinal twist. Then we come through center and take the other side. Hips left and knees right. And then bring yourself down the middle. Snuggle your shoulder blades against the ground. Lift your hips up just an inch to create space there. Feel free to keep your knees bent or opt to straighten one and then the other. It's our rest and digest. Some of us are comfortable closing our eyes. Some of us prefer to just soften our gaze. But let's let ourselves let go. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you would like. If it's time, give yourself a stretch, gather up your knees, roll to your side. Use the strength of your arms to come up to a comfortable seat. Maybe that's cross-legged, maybe that's on one of your blocks or books. Let's place our hands on our hearts. Bow to each other. Lift your heart, open your eyes. Thank you so much for exploring your hips a bit with me, the strength and the stretch. I'm Andrea. I look forward to us doing a practice together again soon.